The Zenmeyer Dome is a park designed for an expansion team. The Z-Dome was an old amphitheater that was converted into a modern baseball park. The lines are ridiculously shallow, and dead center field is only 365 feet from home. The colossal center field fence known as the Tassie Mammoth can knock down many potential home runs. A manually operated scoreboard is embedded within a giant wall and features dual video monitors for replays. It is designed to give up-to-the-minute scores, but the problem is they don't pay their workers enough to keep the scores updated. The turf can produce some funny bounces, and outfielders must anticipate odd caroms off the scoreboards. This park certainly promotes hitting, and offensive numbers should skyrocket. To be effective in this park, draft power hitters and pitchers with high strikeout totals. This is the future home of the St. Louis Cardinals. This park should seat about 49,000 people, bucking the recent trend of small, cozy seating arrangements. From just about anywhere in the ballpark, fans will have an incredible view of downtown St. Louis and the famous Gateway Arch. Where the left field seats turn the corner at the foul pole, the upper deck will project out toward the field. The first rows of the upper deck will overhang the playing field, creating a home run porch just like at Tiger Stadium in the Polo Grounds. A brick building will serve as the hitter's background in center field. The Ballpark Village beyond center field will support the Cardinals Hall of Fame, an aquarium, restaurants, shops, and offices. Some of the buildings in the neighborhood of the ballpark may have rooftop viewing like at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The deep power alleys should certainly give pitchers an advantage in this park. The Cardinals will begin play in this park during the 2005 season. This is a future site for an expansion team for Washington, D.C. The park is modeled in the now common neoclassic style. Most seats in this park have a fantastic view of the Capitol building and the Washington, D.C. skyline. The right field area is shaped somewhat like Fenway Park, but the wall is made of brick and covered with ivy. The right field foul pole is only 307 feet away from the home, but the wall angles sharply towards the power alley, which measures a very deep 416 feet. This shape should make the park very challenging for left-handed power hitters. Washington leads the list of cities that could support Major League Baseball. This is the future home of the Boston Red Sox. The dimensions are exactly the same as the current Fenway Park. Many of the features like the green monster and the center field triangle will look similar. The new park will have more seats and wider aisles, providing more comfort for the fans. Once the new place is open, the Red Sox plan to build a baseball museum, Red Sox Hall of Fame, and Children's Center within the park. Like the older park, this version will still be tough on left-handed pull hitters, while the monster will be an inviting target for right-handed pull hitters. Plans for the new Fenway Park are being developed, but no date has been set for the groundbreaking. This is the future home of the Oakland A's. Fans will be able to see the skyline of downtown Oakland from beyond the left field bleachers. The most prominent feature is the enormous hotel that looms over the center field fence. The hotel in center field will have many rooms that overlook the ball field. Lodgers will be able to pay special rates and get a room with a view of the field on days when the Athletics play. The deep dimensions will certainly favor pitchers, much like their current home park. Plans are underway for this new ballpark for the A's, but as yet, no timetable has been set. This is the future home of the San Diego Padres. Leading up to the entrance of the ballpark, fans will pass by palm trees and water walls reminiscent of the early Spanish missions. Fans will have a great view of the game since all the seats will be close to the field and angled toward the pitcher's mound. The west side building will be part of the left field wall and foul pole. The main scoreboard sits above the left field bleachers. Behind the outfield wall, there's an area called the Park at the Park, which is an area that will be used for lawn seating and standing room viewing. A volleyball court just behind the right field wall may be a target for lefty sluggers. Some seats will feature monitors that will allow users to surf the internet and order food from their seats. Pitchers will likely benefit from the fairly deep dimensions. The Padres will move into this park at the start of the 2004 season. This is the future home of the Philadelphia Phillies. The new ballpark will feature bowl-style seating with the playing field embedded 23 feet below street level. This type of layout is inspired by the plans of the Baker Bowl and Shibe Park, the previous homes of the Phillies. The street-level entrances lead to the main concourse and have a wide-open view of the field. Fans will be able to see the skyline of downtown Philadelphia beyond the center field fence. The new scoreboard is located above the bleacher seats in left field. About 300 bleacher seats will be located on the roof of an outfield pavilion looking down into the bullpens. The Liberty Bell image from Veterans Stadium hangs from the light support in right field. This park has symmetric dimensions and shouldn't favor any particular type of hitter or pitcher. The Phillies will move into this ballpark for the start of the 2004 season. This is the future home of the New York Mets. The stadium remains in the Queens section of New York City, but has touches that will remind fans of the old Brooklyn ballpark. Fans will have a stunning view of the famous Manhattan skyline in the background. Although the park will have a retro-style look, the technology will be unbelievable. The retractable roof will have an open-air design similar to the roof at Safeco Field. The most intriguing feature is the retractable natural grass surface. The grass will be placed on a large platform that can slide out in 15 minutes for non-baseball events. With the short dimensions in right field, left-handed power hitters should have very little difficulty reaching the seats. Left-handed pitchers should benefit from the deeper left center gap. Plans for the construction of the new Met Stadium have temporarily been put on hold. This is the future home of the Minnesota Twins. This park is much different from the Metrodome. The field will be natural grass and sit 13 feet below street level. Every seat will be angled toward home plate, providing fans with a great perspective of the field. This park will feature wider aisles and wider seats. The retractable roof will span over 600 feet and can open or close in less than 15 minutes. When the roof is open, fans will have a beautiful view of the lakes beyond downtown Minneapolis. The famous baggy fences from the Metrodome make a reappearance in this new park. But unlike the Metrodome, this park should favor right-handed hitters and help out right-handed pitching. Plans for the Twins' new park are underway, but the opening date has yet to be announced. This is the future home of the Chicago Cubs. The park will be built on the current Wrigley Field site, and the playing field dimensions will remain the same as the old park. Many of the features like the ivy, the brick fences, and the scoreboard will have a familiar look. To support larger crowds, additional upper deck seating is added in the outfield areas. The famous bleachers in the outfield are replaced with more comfortable chairs. The wind will still be a big influence on games played at this park. Plans for remodeling Wrigley Field have been discussed, though no date has been set. This is the future home of the New York Yankees. The new Yankee Stadium combines the classic feel of the older Yankee stadiums with the luxuries of the modern-day parks. The new stadium has a retractable roof, similar to the one at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Like the classic Yankee Stadium, the monuments return to the field of play, but the retired numbers and the plaques remain behind the outfield fences. The dimensions are exactly the same as the current Yankee Stadium, and many of the features from the fences to the facade look similar. Since the dimensions haven't changed, this stadium will still favor left-handed pitchers and batters. Plans for building the new Yankee Stadium have been put on hold temporarily.
Bank One Ballpark has been the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks since their inaugural season in 1998. This park has become the model for many of the new stadiums that have been recently constructed. The Bob was the first big league ballpark to feature a retractable roof and a natural grass surface. The roof opens to various set positions to make sure a certain amount of sunlight hits the grass without overheating the rest of the stadium, which allows for quick and efficient cooling. During the early and later parts of the season, the grass can have dead spots, which can lead to bad hops and strange bounces. The most unusual feature at Bank One Ballpark is the swimming pool, which is located behind part of the right field fence. Despite the elevation and the heat, Bank One is considered a pitcher's park, though scoring tends to increase when the roof is open and the warm air settles in. The 24-foot wall in center field is extremely difficult for hitters to clear, and the power alleys are deeper than most parks, which helps keep long drives in the park. Outfielders may find the angles of the walls difficult to read, and the power alleys force them to cover a lot of ground. Bank One Ballpark hosted its first World Series in 2001. Built next to the Mississippi River and the Gateway Arch in downtown St. Louis, Busch Stadium became the home of the St. Louis Cardinals in 1966. The fences were much deeper than the other cookie-cutter ballparks built in that era, and the turf field was slick. After extensive renovations during the 90s, the infamous turf was replaced with real grass and the fences were moved in, making the park more power-friendly. 3 tiers of red seats circle the entire grass playing field, and the scoreboard has an electronic cardinal that chirps and animates when a Cardinal batter smacks a home run. A huge manual scoreboard hangs over the seats at the upper deck and center field. It also has sections that display the Cardinals' retired numbers and championship flags. During the early years, this park favored gap hitters, but after all of the recent changes, the park is now relatively neutral in terms of offensive production. The ball carries well down both lines, especially during the hot midsummer months, but there's a lot of foul territory behind home plate, and the gaps in the power alleys are still fairly large. Pitchers will benefit from the smooth grass infield, even though the surface is usually hard and plays fast. Though speed may not be as necessary as it was in the past, the power alleys are still fairly deep, and outfielders with good range and speed will help pitchers out tremendously. Lou Brock stole his then record-breaking 105th stolen base here. Hall of Famer Bob Gibson turned in 5 21 seasons in this park. Built just a mile away from the famous Tiger Stadium, Comerica Park became the home of the Detroit Tigers during the 2000 season. This park combines contemporary and classic styles like many of the other ballparks built in recent years. No seat at Comerica Park is obstructed, and just about all of the seats have an excellent view of downtown Detroit. A huge 202-foot wide scoreboard sits behind a level of seats in left field. Along the left center field wall are 5 statues of Tiger greats, including Al Kaline, Hal Newhouser, and the legendary Ty Cobb. In straightaway center field are several fountains that shoot liquid fireworks after a Tiger batter hits a home run. The bullpens are located behind the right field wall. Although the prevailing wind blows out to left field, this park has been extremely tough on right-handed power hitters. That could change this season, though, because the cavernous left center field gap, which once stood 398 feet away from home, has been moved 25 feet closer to home plate. There's still a lot of room in that outfield, so hitters will be at a disadvantage, though not nearly as much as they were in the past 3 seasons. The outfielders will certainly have less ground to cover, and the number of long relay throws will be cut back as well. Despite the change in the dimensions, this park should still favor pitchers, particularly fly ball types. Detroit has hosted 6 World Series and 3 All-Star games in their old park, but have not had the opportunity to host in their new facility. The Chicago White Sox moved into the new Kamisky Park in 1991. From the colored concrete exterior to the scoreboard, the new Kamisky Park looks very similar to the old park that the White Sox played in for 80 years. The manually operated scoreboard in center field is a replica of the one that was built for old Kamisky Park back in 1938. In the past, the upper deck has even been closed off at times because of high winds, which could cause safety problems. Before the start of the 2001 season, the fences were moved in for more bleachers and the wall heights were lowered, which made the field more conducive to the long ball. The distances to the outfield wall were changed, most noticeably down the foul lines. This was once a good pitcher's park, but the dimension changes have turned Kamisky into a good park for power hitters. The ball has been flying out of this park in recent years, particularly down the lines, giving pull hitters a bit of an edge. Outfielders are given a lot of room to catch up with fly balls in the gaps, and the infield surface is one of the best in the majors. Mike Cameron had a 4-home run game in this park last season. The new Kamisky Park will host the 2003 All-Star Game. Coors Field became the home of the Colorado Rockies in 1995. Coors became the first baseball-only park built in the National League since Dodger Stadium in 1962. The brick-structured jagged outfield dimensions and the hand-operated out-of-town scoreboard give the park a neoclassic look. Without a doubt, the most distinguishing feature of this park is the high altitude. Because of the altitude, a batted ball will travel much further than normal, which makes Coors Field the best hitter's park in baseball history. A row of purple seats, which wraps around the entire upper deck, that shows at what point the stadium reaches 1 mile above sea level. The modern color replay boards are displayed in left field, and a hand-operated out-of-town scoreboard is situated on the right field fence. Rockies fans know the 2,300-seat bleacher section located behind the center field backdrop as the Rock Pile. The bullpens are found behind the right field fence, along with trees, rocks, and fountains that depict a Colorado landscape. Supposedly, some of the Rockies relievers plant a small garden near their bullpen every season. The high altitude in Colorado makes Coors Field the most hitter-friendly park of all time. Although everyone seems to hit in this park, right-handed hitters may have a bit of an edge, possibly because of the slightly smaller dimensions in left. Outfielders tend to play deeper because they expect the ball to get hit over their heads, so bleeders may fall in for hits and runners may challenge their arms. Pitchers must concentrate on throwing strikes and understand that they'll give up a few runs here and there. Hideo Nomo threw his no-hitter against the Rockies despite the favorable hitting conditions at Coors Field. Built in Chavez Ravine on a hill overlooking downtown Los Angeles, Dodger Stadium has been the home of the Los Angeles Dodgers since 1962 and is currently the second oldest park in the National League. With palm trees beyond the fences and a great view of downtown Los Angeles, Dodger Stadium quickly became recognized as a great place to see a game. In 1978, the Dodgers became the first team to draw 3 million fans to the ballpark. This park has remained one of the cleanest and nicest ballparks in the country despite its age. The low 4-foot steel walls in the corners are sometimes referred to as the dip. The windows in the bullpen fence were installed in 1974. There are 2 scoreboards above the bleachers in the power alleys. Unlike other parks, there is no sign showing the distance in dead center field. Instead, there are 2 395 signs to the left and right of dead center. Almost instantly, the park developed a reputation for being a pitcher's park because of the large amount of foul territory and the deep power alleys. For almost 40 years, total scoring and batting average have ranked amongst the lowest in either league. Because the ball only has to clear a 3-foot wall in the corners, pull hitters may have a slight power advantage over gap hitters who must contend with a large amount of ground in the alleys. Fly ball pitchers seem to benefit more from the park than a ground ball pitcher would, although both types generally have success at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium has hosted 8 World Series and an All-Star game. Although it is more than 3 decades old, Dodger Stadium still ranks as one of Major League Baseball's top ballparks. Edison International Field, formerly Anaheim Stadium, has been the home of the Angels since 1966. Originally built for football and baseball, the Big Ed had a generic feel until the park was remodeled into a more compact baseball-only facility in 1997. The once symmetrical dimensions were changed to a more irregular configuration with an 18-foot wall that runs from right to right center that causes odd caroms and cuts down extra base hits. The park's most prominent feature is the Outfield Extravaganza area, located behind the wall in left center field. The rocks spring to life with a 90-foot-high geyser and a firework display to celebrate fantastic plays on the field. The famous A-frame scoreboard was moved into the parking lot and replaced with a new video display board and an out-of-town scoreboard near the right field seats. Right-handed batters may suffer a bit due to the wide-open left center field gap. The spacious gaps to the left of center field could give southpaws extra confidence when they have to face right-handed bats in the lineup. 2 of Nolan Ryan's record 5 no-hitters were thrown here. Reggie Jackson hit his 500th home run in this park as a member of the Angels. Edison International Field hosted last year's World Series and 2 All-Star games. Kauffman Stadium opened in 1973 as the home of the Kansas City Royals and joined the ranks of the cookie-cutter parks that were popping up all over, though it had a more unique appearance. The waterfalls and the huge scoreboard are easily recognizable to baseball fans everywhere. Beyond the fence in left field is a 30 by 40-foot Jumbotron video display board that was the largest in the United States when it was installed in 1990. Behind the right field fence is a 322-foot wide fountain, the largest privately funded waterworks in the world. The fountains feature lighted cascades between innings and spray jets of water called liquid fireworks after home runs and outstanding plays made by the home team. By 1996, the artificial turf was removed and replaced with natural grass, and the fences were moved in 10 feet, which helped turn the K into one of the best hitters' parks in the American League. The ball also carries extremely well here, especially during the summer when the weather is hot, and many hitters believe that the K has the best visibility in the majors. Pitchers should try to keep the ball on the ground here because the infield grass is thick and well kept, which should cut down on the bad hops. Nolan Ryan threw one of his no-hitters in this park during the 1973 season. Kauffman Stadium has hosted 2 World Series and an All-Star game. Fenway Park has been the home of the Boston Red Sox for the past 90 years and is the oldest active stadium in baseball. After fires destroyed much of the outfield area in 1933, the park was remodeled and has looked pretty much the same since. With a capacity of 33,817, Fenway is the smallest ballpark in the majors. The park has quirky dimensions and many unique features, most notably the famous 37-foot left field wall known as the Green Monster. Although it stands only 310 feet away from home plate, the Green Monster is 37 feet tall and has a 23-foot screen extending above it to protect the storefronts on Lansdowne Street. The Monster includes a manually operated scoreboard that has been used since 1934. The video scoreboard was added behind the bleachers in center field after the 1975 season. The roof over the right field stand seems to invite home runs, but no one has ever hit one over it. This park is notorious for its poor drainage, which can cause havoc on the infield grass. As a result, bad hops and strange bounces will occur. Fenway Park is the hardest home run park in baseball for left-handed hitters, and home runs by right-handed batters have been down in recent years as well. The deep right center field gap and the swirling winds tend to kill anything hit into the air to right. Hitters with good bat control can play pepper with the Monster and take advantage of the quirky angles in the center field gaps. Fenway Park has hosted 3 All-Star games and 7 World Series, including the drama-filled 1975 and 1986 World Series. In 1986, Roger Clemens struck out 20 batters in a game in this park. Derek Lowe tossed a no-hitter here last season. Plans for a new Fenway Park are currently being discussed, though most plans revolve around a replica of the current ballpark.